All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the library. We are all happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. My name is Aaron with the Ann Arbor District Library. A few quick things. Again, thank you for coming. Make sure you turn your cell phones to silent during the presentation. If you need restrooms, they are straight behind you back there. We are excited to have our partners with the, I need to make sure I get it right, the Washtenaw Bird and Nature Alliance. We are happy to have them here. I'm going to pass it over to Juliet, who's going to introduce.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see such a large crowd. In fact, it's fantastic. Welcome, and you're in for a treat with Victor with his program. So, first we do a little bit of announcements, and folks say whether they've seen any interesting birds lately, so we'll do that. Roger, have you seen any interesting birds lately?
Well, on Saturday we did the big sit at Independence Lake.
Yeah.
On Saturday at Independence Lake we did the big sit, and we did pretty well. The record number of species is 65, and we got 63 or 4. But that work was basically done by 3 people. Yako, Sean Bachman, and Ben, yes.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
I was just there also.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Roger. So Matt Spohr, our field trip chair, is not here, but he would like me to remind you that we have many field trips coming up. We have 3 more Thursday morning walks at the ARB tomorrow and next week, and our last one being on Halloween. So we get 5 in October this year, which is really exciting. And every weekend we've got something going on, so check it out. At the last Sunday of the month, we're going to go to Watkins Lake State Park, and that's always an incredible birding experience for waterfowl and other good stuff. So please come out to our field trips for the next month. Also, it will be past the election when I see you all next. So please vote and know that there's a lot at stake, an incredible amount at stake. So don't neglect your duty. I can hardly breathe waiting for it to be over in the correct direction. Know that I think there is a moral imperative to vote in a direction that supports our environment, and we know which party is in support of our environment, the Dems. So that's a moral imperative for an organization like ours. You can disagree with me, but that is how it goes. So we want to welcome people of all diverse backgrounds. And our full diversity statement is on our website, but know that everyone is welcome to bird with us and learn with us and share our passion for birds and the environment. So thanks for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Mike Sefton, who's our program chair and vice president, and he will tell you what upcoming events we have in terms of programs, and he will introduce Victor Chen for us.
Thank you, Juliet. Upcoming programs include Heidi Trudell. Oh.
Mick Jagger.
Gotcha. All right. Heidi Trudell is going to speak on new regulations by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that'll help to protect birds. Also, she's going to talk about new technology in preventing window strikes that she's learned about. That is November. November 20th. Yeah. January 15th? Yeah. Who'd I get? Think, Mike, think. None other than Michael Kelb, fine old Washtenaw Bird and Nature Alliance speaker and field trip leader, and he's going to talk about warblers in the Arboretum during May. Right, and then in February, my man Keith here with a photographer's workshop where you can learn all sorts of tricks to get better bird pictures and pictures in general. That's it for tonight. We have Victor Chen. Victor teaches math at chemistry. Victor teaches chemistry at
Thurston High School in Redford.
Go, Victor, go.
Victor's our education chair at Washtenaw Bird and Nature Alliance, and he leads our really popular BIPOC bird walks as well. And he does a lot of programs with Ypsilanti schools and with the Ann Arbor District Library and the Ypsilanti Library and all kinds of stuff for WBNA. Thank you, and take it away, Victor.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you all for coming. I maybe should have bought more snacks because I didn't expect so many people. But we do have, if you stick to the end of the program, I do have some Taiwan snacks. My name is Victor Chen. I am the education chair for Washtenaw Bird Nature Alliance. And I had the opportunity this summer to go to Taiwan. I'd been there a couple times as a kid, so as a middle schooler and as a high schooler. And but since I hadn't been there for close to 30 years, and we had this trip kind of planned, and we're gonna go in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. So the trip got delayed, and it was the first time that I could go as a husband and a dad and as a birder. So my cousins, we got together, we kind of figured things out, and said, okay, hey, let's go. And so me and a few cousins of mine from the States flew over to Taiwan with our families, got together with our cousins in Taiwan. And before I get too far in the talk, I want to just shout out to my cousins that planned pretty much everything on this trip. So UP and PQ over here, the two bottom ones, they did so much planning. Like this itinerary was every minute of every day was like we had something to do. So it was a lot of stuff. And then my cousin's daughter, Han, and up in the top, she was our tour guide for a lot of the trip. And so she just took us around and took us to all these food places. So I'm hoping to show you a lot of cool things about Taiwan. The birds, obviously, but Taiwan is a beautiful place. The nature there is wonderful, the wildlife, the people, the food, obviously, and maybe someday you'll want to go visit Taiwan. So where is Taiwan, if you're not totally familiar? We are here, and it is literally on the other side of the planet. You have to fly, so we flew to Washington, which is about a 4-hour flight, and then Taiwan, and that's about another 12 hours, so 16 hours-ish. You go across the timeline, and if you have an eBird checklist streak, it's kind of tricky because you cross the timeline on a different day, the next day, and you have to find a bird before the light gets dark because you're in a new country, it's a new day, and you're there. So I think my bird for that one day was Mina Spa. Because I didn't know what it was. Okay, so Taiwan, this is Michigan, and I tried to scale it to the right size. That's the size of Taiwan approximately. Just to give an idea of, so Michigan has 10 million people, Taiwan is 24 million people. So if you took the populations of Ohio, Nebraska, and Michigan all together and packed them into Taiwan, that is the densely populated Taiwan. So Taiwan has a lot of people. We all learn to get along with each other. People, it's amazing because you're there, and the people are just everywhere, but they learn to get along because they know that's how it is. So, so this is roughly the trip that we had planned. It was a 2-week trip. We're going to look at habitats in the cities, mountains, beaches, wetlands. It wasn't a birding trip. It was a family trip. I did as much birding as I could while I was there, so it's not like hundreds of birds, but I did see quite a few birds in the time I was there, and we covered quite a bit of ground. So I'm going to take you on a trip through Taiwan. The pictures that are shown here are mostly mine, unless there's a lot of birds I just did not see. Just could hear them, and they just, those birds. They just sing, and you just can't do anything. You're at the mercy of the leaves and everything else. Okay, I also tried to put the characters, the Chinese characters of the birds, of all the birds that I have, just so that just for people that want to see them. So there's a couple books I used. This is a book that my friend Chin gave me, and then there's a book that Matt Spoor. My neighbor gave me this book, Birds of Hong Kong, and then I found some online. So, okay. So, in 1542, I learned that the Portuguese gave the name Formosa to Taiwan, and Formosa means beautiful island. And when you go there, you can really see it has the mountains in the middle, which go all the way from the north to the south, and then the coasts. So most of the people are living on the western edge of Taiwan. And then we did not go to Hualien. We were planning to go there, but they had an earthquake there earlier in the year, and so it was still pretty badly damaged. This is roughly my crew for half of the trip. So my cousin Em and Winston, who took the picture, and their families, my mom and my aunt, and then Morgan will be happy to see that Taka is actually showing his face in this picture, because the one on the left, because he hates the camera. So, so half the trip we had this crew, and then the other half the trip they took off to go to Japan, and my brother's family came, and so we had two different groups in this trip. So we're going to start off in Taipei. So we flew to Taipei. Taiwan is the airport, and then my family lives. So my mom's family lives in Bangkok. So it's in New Taipei, and it's pretty close to Taipei. But in Bangkok, this is our house. So we look pretty jet lagged. This is the picture literally right after we got off the plane. This is the house that my mom grew up in, and I wanted to show this bird first. Okay, so this picture here, I show it not because it's a great picture, but we got there, we arrived, we had a hotel, and you stay in we had an air-conditioned room, which is great, and then when you walk outside and you take your birding gear out, and as soon as you open the lens cap, in 95% humidity, everything fogs up. And so I took this picture with the humidity on my lens cap, and I'm like, but I wanted to show it. So this is, I think it's a crested myna, but it's pretty foggy. I wanted to show you that. And so I just learned that over time, you have to leave your camera and your binoculars in a warmer room so that if you go out in the morning, you don't have to deal with it fogging up. Near the hotel, so my mom's house was in Bangkok, and we were just half a block away in a hotel because we couldn't all stay in the same house. It was crowded. And down the road, there's a park. And I don't know if you ever went to this park growing up, but I think it's across from the school that you went to. But this is the park. I got up, I was jet lagged, and so most of my birding was done at like 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. The sun was actually up by then, so I could get up before everybody had got going, and I went to this park the first thing I got there, and I saw this. This is
We have here some kind of heron. I think it's some kind of night heron.
so this is the first thing I saw, or one of the first things I saw.
Skulking along the water here. Over here we have some pigeons.
They have rock pigeons there too. They've taken over the world.
And some Eurasian
And those are Eurasian tree
sparrows.
sparrows. Yes. And some other doves, and I'll show you. So yes, rock pigeons really they're everywhere. It's amazing. Some species. So there's some species that we can see here. We also see there, and it's they just like barn swallows also have taken over the world.
We have
Okay, so that's a Malayan night heron, and they're just in city parks, and sometimes I learned that they sometimes build nests close to buildings, which there was a nest there. So this is a nest. There was a pair of them in this little park, and the people would just go to the park and walk around in the mornings. It's really the only time you can exercise because it gets so hot in the summer. It was close to 95 degrees every day we were there. And if in the city, so if you're down at sea level. But in the mountains, it's much cooler, so we can see that. This is an oriental turtle dove, just like the 12 Days of Christmas song. And Eurasian tree sparrows, kind of like our house sparrows here, so they're all over the place. And they have a variety of doves there. So the spotted doves, the turtle doves, and they're rather cute, like this kind of like they're morning doves, but there's more variety over there. So, and then this guy was also in
we
the.
have here some kind of looks like a gallinule.
It's like a chicken. So it really is like a gallinule, but they had a couple of them walking around and swimming.
We have here some kind of
So that's a Eurasian moorhen. Looks very similar to the common gallinule that we have here. And then there's these squawking birds everywhere, and I found them very fascinating. So this is the black bulbul, and I'll play a little clip of what the black bulbul sounds like. See if it works. So yeah, they're medium-sized songbird, kind of. I don't know how you describe anything similar here, but they kind of squawk and make weird sounds, and they like to just hang out in trees and parks. Okay. So mynas, I showed you the myna. I saw it earlier. These are other mynas that we have that I got to see. So there's the Javan myna on the right, and then the common myna. Also make lots of squawky noises. Different kinds of starlings. This is the black collared starling. I think this is a very pretty starling. Yeah, they have a couple different kinds of starlings that I'll show you later too. This is the oriental magpie robin. So let's see if it'll play. It's a very interesting sounding song. So the magpie robin is a small magpie-like bird, but it's not quite a magpie. And this is a magpie that they have there also, the oriental magpie, much bigger. So it is quite a big bird. I've seen yellow-billed or black-billed magpies out west, similar. or if you've been to Europe, the Eurasian magpies. But it's a little bigger than the Eurasian magpie. So Oriental magpie robin, Oriental magpie, and then the tree pea is also another corvid that I got to see in the city. So this is a gray tree pea, likes to hang around on the ground, and we got to see one at the tea farm, which I'll show you in a little bit. Okay, warbler type birds, little birds. The Swinhoe's white eye. I guess Swinhoe was a researcher, did a lot of bird studies. So a lot of things are named after Swinhoe. Oh, I can play you a little. Let's see, what does this sound like? I don't know if it'll work. Yeah, it just makes kind of little. So I mean, I could hear things all the time, but so one thing that's interesting is if you're familiar with the Merlin app, you're in birding out here, and you can use Merlin. It's pretty good now in North America. It'll pick up a lot of different things. In Taiwan, it's useless. So it won't even say it's the. You just will record it. And so I had to just record the birds that I saw, that I heard, and then try to identify them back at home, like listening through all the different things and seeing what they were. Okay, swifts. It's a Pacific swift, a pretty large swift, which we can compare to a different one later. And then, so we're in the city, and we have to see some stuff in the city. So Taiwan the birds are great, but so I'm going to show you an intersection that's near my parents' house. I'm just give you a little background. The way that they have intersections set up is they'll have like the intersection. This is like a 5 or 6 prong intersection, and you'll see a bunch of mopeds going across because they have a box in the front where all the mopeds get to go first. So once you're stopped at the intersection, if you're a moped, you can skip all ahead everybody and just go into this little moped box, and then they get to go first. And so once it turns green, then all the mopeds can go, and then everybody else goes behind them. But I didn't understand how people didn't get into accidents in this.
This intersection,
So
right now, this is a 6-pronged intersection.
this is just open right now for people to
Near
go.
my
So they just
family's
open it,
house.
people can walk across,
Let's see what
and then once it
happens
turns green,
Go
then
from
everything
pedestrian
happens.
to go.
Yeah, so it's mind-boggling. And I'd asked my cousin, did they have many moped accidents and stuff? And this was like, no, actually, there's not many not really that many accidents. I don't know. They're just aware. They also have a moped helmet law there, so they all have to wear helmets. But yeah, it's mind-boggling. Okay, so the other thing is the day market. Very famous for day markets and night markets. And you walk the market, you can pretty much get anything you want on the market. You can bargain, you can get clothes, you can get toys, food, meats. And meats hanging there, fruit. So this is in Bangkok. These are some of the things I loved about Taiwan. And yeah. Something that we don't really have any equivalent of here, I don't think. So like the farmer's market, but it's not quite the same. Okay, so from Bangkok, this is all, so that was, the videos were taken different days, but it's still the same day. So we're gonna wake up now, and now my family woke up, and we're gonna go to the northern part of Taiwan. So we go to Keelung. This is the very north part of Taiwan, and this is the Geo Park. It's a rock formations formed by the erosion and wind, and you can see this is the famous the Queen's Head Rock, and this is my family there. It was hot. It was very hot. That's why we all have umbrellas there, because no sun protection at all. So we were there, got to walk around. We also went near in that same area. There's an old street, so you can walk down the old street. They have market and food there. Food is very, very important in Taiwan. It is known for its hospitality. There's a lot of food that I did not know what it was, but we just ate it anyways because it's so good. So back to the birds. There's house swifts. So this is a swift smaller than the Pacific swifts I had earlier. This is a very poor picture on the left. That's my picture of an oriental honey buzzard. And so I put a better picture up there. It does like to raid wasps for larvae, but not much for the honey, I learned. Near that area, we also went to this park where the kids could go swimming. The dogs could also go swimming. They like dogs there in Taiwan, so lots of dogs around. This dog was swimming in the water. And off the coast, there were lots of terns. I got a picture of a great crested tern, a decent one I could show you. And then this one here is a little tern. I'm not going to bother you with all the identifying of the little terns here, but this is what an actual little tern looks like. So this is a picture of a tern from that calendar I got from my friend, and they like to breed in gravel patches. This is a very poor picture of a brown booby, and this is a much better one here. So brown. So if you, I have no doubt, if you actually went out there to go find all these terns, you could see lots of great birds on the shore. I just wasn't in the right area to get good views. So here's some other terns that I could identify from poor pictures, but I'll give you better pictures. So sooty tern, they have so many terns there. Bridled tern, a whiskered tern, and a black-naped tern. And then this picture, this is the great story that goes with this. So after we went swimming, Morgan's probably happy I didn't show the picture of them swimming with the seaweed and everything. But after we got done swimming, we got on the bus and we're driving, and one of my cousins is talking to me about birds, and all of a sudden we saw this bird with this really long tail fly and land up on the post. And I go, oh my gosh, what was that? And then the next couple posts, and two of them came, and this is a bird, a bus shot. So I got this picture on the bus, the left one, and that is the national bird of Taiwan, the Taiwan blue magpie. So Taiwan blue magpie, I was like, I definitely will get better pictures, but we never saw one the whole rest of the trip. So that was the best picture I got of a Taiwan blue magpie. They are, it's a beautiful bird. I learned at the next place that they can be kind of pesky because they're very smart. Magpies are very smart. And at the farm that we were at, they had these peaches, and they would wrap the peaches up in plastic or whatever to try to prevent the magpies from eating them, and the magpies figured out how to undo the wrappings and they would just eat a little bit of it and then just leave the rest, and then they wouldn't eat the whole thing. So the people there were like, they just gave up because the magpies are too smart. So the next place after, and that was the first day of our trip. So we did all that on our first day of our trip. The next place was very close to Taipei still. We're going to the Makong Tea Farm. So this is the views. It's still near the city, but you can see it's very lush, lots of vegetation. And from the tea farm, there's Taipei 101, which is the 11th tallest building in the world. It was once the tallest building in the world. Now it's 11th tallest. This is our tour guide for the tea farm. So I learned a tea has to grow on sloping land because you can't have water built up for the tea. Taiwan has, I'm biased, it has the best tea in the world. But it does have some of the best tea in the world, and it's affordable. So that's what's one thing that's great about Taiwan tea is it's very affordable. And we did a tea tasting, and he did the tea tasting for us. And there's a special tea So this is not my picture. We just got this, but this is a special tea that it has to get bitten by a tea grasshopper. And if it's bitten by the tea grasshopper, then the tea forms enzymes to protect itself from the tea grasshopper, and then it gives the tea a different taste. So it's like a sweet honey taste. And so it's very, if you drink the tea, it's pretty cool. So that's something I learned, and we got to try that. That's just a lizard. I don't know. I didn't identify. It's Bird and Nature Club. So I had to show some other. I have some other nature I'm showing here too. Of course, more food. That's how the Taiwanese show their love for other people, is they just feed you, and we ate it. So okay, so a different kind of bulbul. This is the light vented bulbul that was at the tea farm, and also we can play this sound. How this goes. Kind of squawking type of sounds. We heard lots of these types of squawking sounds everywhere, and I just didn't know what they were for a while. Okay. This is a crested serpent eagle, and it does eat snakes, and there are lots of poisonous. We did not see any poisonous snakes, thankfully, but there are lots of poisonous snakes in Taiwan. Our guide for the tea farm has gotten bitten by a snake before, and he said it was quite painful, but he was fine. There is a snake in Taiwan, I learned, that's called the 100-second snake or something like that, because you have 100 seconds before you die if you get bit. That's what someone told me. I don't know if is that true? 100 steps. That's it. Okay, yeah, thank you. The 100 steps snake, yeah. So you have to get the anti-venom before, yeah. We did not run into any snakes. So the crested serpent eagle on the left, black eagle. I couldn't get any better pictures of the black eagle. This is a better picture here of a black eagle. They do have some, fair number of raptors there. This is the Taiwan barbet. So we also saw this, and I love so they call it the 5-colored bird. Go shik jiao, right? Is that right? Yeah. So so I'm going to talk about some of the characters, but it's a barbet. I don't know what we don't have barbets here, so it's a very pretty bird. We also learned that the weather in Taiwan changes on a dime. So we were planning to go to a park that afternoon, and plans got thwarted because the weather was going to go bad and start raining. So we went to Taipei 101, which I'll show you a little bit of Taipei 101. So it was the world's tallest building from 2004 to 2009. It has a very fast elevator, 38 miles per hour, and the largest wind dampening ball in the world. So I found a bird in Taipei 101. Just kidding. That's like the diamonds. What is it? What's Tiffany's diamond? Yeah, and we had a little fun when we were in Taipei 101. So this is a tuned mast apparatus. Any engineers out there? Engineers? No engineers, really? Okay, well, engineers or science people get geeked by this thing. It's a giant 660 metric ton ball it's a counterbalance for because there's so many typhoons and earthquakes in Taiwan. So Taipei 101 is really near a fault line. And so because of the earthquakes, it can shake quite a bit. And this is a counterbalance for that shaking. And actually, I found a video. So this is during an actual high wind thing. The thing just moves back and forth. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's a fascinating thing when you go in there and, all right. Yeah, so we go in there and it's on hydraulic. So there's hydraulics underneath it that keep it from not totally falling into the wall. But yeah. Okay. All right, so from there, that was day 2. The third day, we went to a place near Bangkyo, and it's just it's my family's grave areas. So this is grandma's grave? Grandpa, okay, so this is my grandfather. We go there occasionally to clean, to sweep up everything, do some weeding. There's Morgan and Elliot, her cousin, doing some cleaning. That's a giant, some kind of worm. I don't know. It was huge. Right? It was like this big. I don't know what it was, but I had to get a picture of it because it's the Bird in Nature Alliance. So, but while we were cleaning things, I had my camera there just in case, and so black kites were kind of around. I guess they're just kind of flying around. They're scavengers. There's different swallows there. It's a striated swallow. Got a picture of the black drongo, kind of pretty aggressive bird. I guess it can be aggressive towards big birds of prey, like kind of our blackbirds are here. And then after we cleaned the graves, this is a very happy Morgan because we finally got to have soup dumplings, the best soup dumplings in the world. So we got to cool off a little bit. And do y'all know what soup dumplings are? They have like soup in the dumpling, and then you open it up and the soup comes out and you drink the soup. It's amazing. Okay, I'm making you all hungry now. So after we spent some time in the Taipei area, we started heading on our trip. So we took a trip, my family planned this trip, and we were taking a bus, and we're gonna take a bus around, but to get to the first destination, we took the high-speed rail to Taichung, and then, which is to the west of that red dot, and then we took a bus to Hehuanshan National Forest Recreation Area. So the high-speed rail, I love the high-speed rail. And I'm just gonna give you, this is the video of the high-speed rail. It reaches about 180 miles per hour. That was a screenshot of the speed in our car at that time. So 290 kilometers an hour. It can go up to 300 kilometers an hour or 180 miles an hour. It's so smooth. It's just like, so it's pretty cool. Okay. And so when we got there, we took and then this is, you can see now, I'm wearing a jacket. So this is not 95 degrees anymore. It's so we drove up in the mountains. This is as my cousin's husband said, this is the 7-Eleven with the most scenic view in Taiwan. So 7-Eleven, I'll talk about 7-Eleven later. 7-Eleven is great. So this is starting to get to the mountains, and my crew, again, in the mountains. So I should have taken a video of, there were like probably 1,000 house martins, Asian house martins, just flying around near where our bus was. And this is one picture I got of them. But it was just amazing how many they were flying around there. This is a white-whiskered laughing thrush, an endemic bird. And it came up quite close to us. So this is an omnivore. And it's kind of like a little mini kangaroo. You can see. Yeah, so that was one laughing thrush that we saw. Okay. This is one that Jill and I got to see. So we're walking back, and this bird popped up, and collared bush robin, which is really cute. So the male on the left and the female on the right. And a large-billed crow, appropriately named. And then there's some birds that we could just only hear. So I'm gonna give you what does this sound like? This is one we heard only. Okay, so it sounds like a winter wren. It's Eurasian wren. So it's basically, it looks almost identical, right? We actually got to see one in Scotland, right? I got to go to Scotland later in the summer, and so the range is quite, because it's Eurasian. This is one bird I barely saw, but they have these rock pipits there. And yes, more food, of course. Okay. So really close by after we took a hike in the mountains, and then we went just a little ways to our lodging for the night. We got to chill for a little bit, got a little bit of rest, had some snacks, and at the lodging there's other martins, a gray-throated martin, green-backed tit. It's a really cute, like a chickadee. And then in the morning, there's these two birds that just hear everywhere, and I was like, what is making these sounds? So I can hear these birds. They're very loud. And then this one here. So, but it just drives you crazy because you hold Merlin out and it's like nothing. It just says no birds. So I finally got to find them. So this is the Steers lyrchichla. That's making the first call, I believe. I can't remember now. I guess it's a laughing thrush. And then this is the white-eared sibia, long-tailed babbler. This is the best picture I got of a finchbill. It's looking the wrong way, but collared finchbill was something else. So I was just hiking around our lodging up in the mountains. This is a better picture of a finchbill. It's a very pretty bird. It has a couple bullfinches on the wire that somehow just landed for me, and I snapped a picture of it. And then this little bird, a rufous-faced warbler, also showed up. And then wagtails, I guess we saw wagtails in Scotland too. So wagtails are all throughout Europe and Asia. But super cute they were. And then we were sitting there looking at these birds, and all of a sudden, like, what is this thing flying around? It's like a hummingbird, but I didn't think there were any hummingbirds in Taiwan. And so I was looking and trying to get pictures of it, and it ends up being it's a hummingbird hawk moth. It's like a flying shrimp. That's how we described it. So I finally got some clear pictures of it. It's different. It's bigger than the hummingbird moths we have in Michigan. So that's what I learned about the hummingbird hawk moth. So in Taiwan, there's also a lot of butterflies. I tried to identify whatever butterflies I could. I'm not a butterfly identifier. I don't know what the one on the right is. This is, I think, a common windmill. A Chinese peacock butterfly. It is about 400 species of butterflies can be in Taiwan. 55 of them are endemic. And it is called the butterfly kingdom. So these are some more butterflies. Some kind of snowflat. I don't know what it is. Sullied sailor, I think. These are all, I think these are the identifications. There we go. So I just took pictures of whatever butterflies I could see. Butterflies are very hard to photograph. I cannot. If anybody wants to teach me how to photograph butterflies, please tell me. Okay, so then we're gonna go to Sun Moon Lake. Sun Moon Lake is very close. It's very, very. It's called that because part of it looks like the moon and part of it looks like the sun. So it's a very famous lake in Taiwan. We learned once again, the weather can turn on a dime. So we took a bike ride around part of Sun Moon Lake, and then on the way home, the way back, it drenched us. So this is them on the bus after we got drenched. But here's some video of Sun Moon Lake. You can see the lake. Good morning. Here we are at Sun Moon Lake. It's a beautiful morning. The sun has not risen yet. There are people out on the water. So there's people already kayaking and everything. Out there. You can hear some of the bulbuls. See what kind of birds we can see here this morning. Okay, so I took a walk. I'll show you some of the birds I saw on my walk. You can also take a gondola across a really long gondola, you can see here, very big, to the Aboriginal Cultural Village, which has lots of things about the Taiwanese Aboriginals, also roller coasters and other fun things for families. And we saw a giant, so I just want to warn people, because I know some people get freaked out by spiders. So there's a giant spider on the next slide. All right. Okay, so this is the northern golden orb weaver. We saw 2 of these. It can get up to 20 centimeters, so it's like this big, right? So it was massive. And I also learned that the males are only 5 to 6 millimeters. So I think that is a male up there, that tiny little dot right there. So they have, because I saw pictures online where they'd have a female and they'd have like 10 males around them. And so they have this gigantism. These females have this gigantism. And they're apparently harmless. They're not poisonous at all, but it is, yeah, it's like that big. So, okay. All right, back to the birds. So cattle egrets, we have cattle egrets. So the eastern cattle egret. I guess we have now the western cattle egret. They call it the yellow-headed heron. So if you look at the Chinese characters, the right character is heron. How do you say heron in Taiwanese? Lu. Okay. So yellow-headed. Shit. I don't know. That's yellow, right? Okay. Just practicing my Taiwanese. This is another small bird, Morrison's fulvetta. It's a tiny, like a vireo type bird. There's a white-bellied green pigeon I got to see. I guess it drinks salt water. I didn't know that. The plain flower pecker. I heard many of these, but I couldn't ever see one. But then I finally got a picture of something I thought was something else, but then it ended up being a flower pecker. So this is the flower pecker. And then here are some birds that I heard but never saw or poorly photographed. So Taiwan partridge, didn't see that, but heard it pretty clearly. This bird I heard all the time, Rufous cat babbler, but I could never find this bird. This is my picture of the black, you can see it. I did get a picture of a black-naped monarch. It's pretty bad, but it's a beautiful bird. The Taiwan whistling thrush, also a bird I heard, which is very hard to see. So this is what it sounds. It's a really cool sound. So it whistles. Okay, so moving from Sun Moon Lake, so we're going to go a little west to Jiayi. Jiayi, I forgot what they're famous for, some kind of food item. But we mostly just stayed in Jiayi the night and then to go on to the next place. But I got up anyways because I had to get a couple city birds. So I found a red-collared dove, another dove in the city. And then this is another starling that they have there. It's an Asian glossy starling. So very bright red eye. Yeah. Okay. So now we move to Alishan National Forest Recreation Area. And Alishan is a very famous mountain and area. Has lots of trees, huge trees, old growth. And this is also where I sing for you. Okay, so it's a very famous folk tune. I'm going to sing an abbreviated version of it for time purposes. So it goes like this. 高山青，见水蓝，阿里山的姑娘美如水呀，阿里山的少年穿如山。高山长青，见水灿烂，姑娘和那少年永不分呀，碧水长为长青山川。Okay, so what that means is, this is scenes from Alishan. The tall green mountain, blue mountain stream, the Alishan girl is as beautiful as the water. The youth is as strong as the mountain. That's the first verse. The second verse is the tall mountain is forever green. The mountain stream is forever blue. The girl and the youth will never be apart, just like the water that ever flows around the green mountain. So it's a very beautiful area. There's monkeys. We got to see monkeys walking around. We saw a monkey cross our path on the bus once. And other birds. So this is a Taiwan bar wing. The ISO on this is probably like 16,000 because I was birding at 5:30 in the morning, and I saw this bird and like, oh my gosh, it's a bar wing. And yeah, so that's very dark. The Taiwan bush warbler. This bird is probably my favorite Taiwan bird, the Taiwan euhina. And it's super cute. It's like a Taiwan titmouse, pretty much. And they came near us. They're very, very cute. And they like to say, "We meet you." Yeah, so we meet you. Yeah, and they're gregarious. So it's very fitting for them, for that bird. Eurasian jay. Found some of those. Black-throated tit, which is really very tiny, cute bird. This bird, Jill and I got to see on our hike, and it was taking down this caterpillar. It was just like beating it, slapping it around. But it's this brilliant, this great chin minivet. I learned the female is yellow. And they had this very interesting mating ritual where the male will take a flower up to the female and then drop it in front of the female or something. So, yeah. Okay. Taiwan fulvetta. I think that might be an endemic bird. I can't remember. I didn't put it on there. And then the Eurasian nutcracker, another bird we saw. And then I saw lots of these ferruginous flycatchers around. They're very cute little birds. And then this, so I'm going to play this, and then you can. So we heard these everywhere. It sounded, I was convinced for so long that it was an insect making this call, but it actually is a yellow-bellied bush warbler. So we heard these everywhere. We couldn't see them anywhere. Jill found one, so I got this picture of one at the Hehuan Shan, but this yellow-bellied bush warbler has this really funky call. Okay, more birds that I could never get pictures of. So Eurasian nuthatch, here's one, similar to our red-breasted nuthatch, which I got to see one in Scotland. Snowy-browed flycatcher. Flame crest, which is super cute. That's my picture right there. Yes, I was very proud to actually get some picture of it, but that is, yeah, my butt shot from underneath. The Taiwan rosefinch, also another pretty bird. I saw this one, but I didn't have my camera out in time, and I couldn't find it again. And then white-tailed robin, also very. And then scops. They have owls there. They have lots of kinds of owls. I heard this owl in the morning. Gray wagtail, also another bird that you can see in Scotland if you go to Scotland. Taiwan bullfinch, there's another. And short wing. And then the Taiwan vivid natalva, that's my picture up there. Yes. But yeah, right. It's. I saw it, and I barely got my camera on it, but at least I got a good look at it, and then try to get the camera. And of course, birds don't cooperate. And this is a really cute bird called a cupwing. It has no tail, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna keep moving on. Okay. So on the way down the hill from the hike, we also came across a muntjac deer. I don't know if you can see the deer there. You can kind of see it. It was right in front of us, and I couldn't get the camera out before it hopped behind some stuff. But this is what it looks like without obstructions in it. Okay, so we are going now to Tainan. Tainan is the southern southwest part of Taiwan. And it is hot in Tainan. And even my cousin from Taipei said, "Wow, it is hotter here." So you can feel it noticeably. But when we were in Tainan, we got to see an oyster farm. So you can farm oysters. They seed them in the water, and then the oysters grow. And so there's some oyster pancake. And if you didn't know, the Dutch were part of people that came over and colonized Taiwan, and so they built this Fort Zeelandia. So we were in Fort Zeelandia for a little while, and the Tainan night market is also very famous there. Oh, 7-Eleven. And 7-Eleven, yes. The 7-Eleven is not like the 7-Elevens here. It is this Japan, I think, has ownership of 7-Eleven. They make 7-Elevens everywhere. So within it, even in a 1 mile radius, you could have up to like 3 or 4 7-Elevens. It's unreal. But they're all super popular, and they have so many snacks there, and the hot food options are great. So they have some of the best like soy sauce eggs you can find, and they have hot buns there. So 7-Elevens. I guess there's one coming to New York. I'm hoping that they move their way here too. So in Tainan, I saw a gray pig. The only woodpecker I saw, gray-capped pygmy woodpecker. This is another kind of starling, chestnut-tailed starling. Munia, which I have seen in the States before. Yeah. They had some more swallows, Pacific swallow, and then herons everywhere. There's herons all over Taiwan. This is the great egret. So we have great egrets here. I want you to pay attention to the characters. So this is the big white egret. Dua, Bei, Lu. Is that right? I don't know. Okay, but then if you look, big white egret, and then you go, the little egret is the small white heron. Okay, so it's the same characters, but it's small. And then they also have the intermediate white heron, the medium egret. They have a Chinese egret, which is another egret. There's so many egrets there, and it's like, how many different kinds of egrets there? So, okay. Okay, then there's some shorebirds. I love shorebirds. Kentish plover. This is a black-winged stilt. Picture taken from a bus, because that's all we could see. But they're pretty frequent when we were driving around. We saw them. This is a bird we saw in Fort Zeelandia. Another magpie, a azure-winged magpie. And then this is an introduced bird. I can't remember when it was introduced, but white rump shama. Let's see if this pulls up here. Oh yeah, there we go. Is it gonna play? Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, well. It's very pretty sounding. It sings very... Okay. Another raptor. I saw it flying overhead, and I couldn't get a picture of it. Crested goshawks, quite plentiful. They do migrate in Taiwan, but they like nest in office buildings and stuff. Okay, so we finished our trip at the southern part. We're heading back to the north. This is near the end of the trip. We go back to Ilan, which is the Formosan cultural village. There's some traditional puppet shows and drumming and some candy pulling. There's lacquer art, which I never heard of. So you can do lacquer. I don't know how they did it. There's like a special lacquer box, and it hardens. They did some indigo dyeing, and this is leather art. So it's a bird, but it's made of leather. Yeah. And then just outside the village, so I convinced Jill to come with me, and Jill's like, what am I doing? So we went, because right next to the cultural village, there was these like retention ponds. And there are some eBird hotspots in there. So I'm like, oh, this eBird hotspot, this got so many different species there. We got to go. And so Jill comes along, and we're walking along this road, and there's basically these giant ponds with, I don't know what they did in the ponds, but there's birds in them. So I went along and cinnamon bittern, another heron, small heron, with the characters. This scimitar, Taiwan scimitar babbler, I got a picture of, a plain prinia. Another munia, this is the chestnut munia. This is a terrible picture of the vinous-throated parrotbill. The first waterfowl I saw, the spot-billed duck, a little grebe. And then this white-breasted water hen, which just most crakes and rails are kind of secretive, but this bird liked to come out, and it was just like walking around. And I was so excited when I saw one. Jill was not super excited to be out with me, but I thank her for coming with me. There were some dogs that they kind of scared us, but they were on chains. They were okay. They kind of scared us. They kind of jumped out at us, and so, yeah. Okay, so then finally we're back in Bangkok, and and there's this one park that I didn't get to because we didn't have time, but then I finally had time to walk. I didn't have a car or anything, so I just had to walk everywhere. And so there's this wetland area that was about half an hour from our house, a half an hour walk, and so this is the wetland area, and that's a picture of a greater painted snipe. So this is what an actual greater painted snipe looked like. I heard one, but didn't get to see them. They're really cute, super cute. But they have herons there, so the gray heron. I saw gray herons flying over. It's a yellow bittern. This is also yellow small heron, so the same character. They just call everything heron there. And here's a video of the bittern I saw. Super loud, like, I don't know, cicadas or something. I can see if
We're gonna set up right in the middle there.
it's right there, right in the middle.
Super cute. The yellow bittern. There he goes.
There he goes. Super cute. Very cute.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to end the presentation here with a poem written by Ching, our friend. It says, "Why should the water birds care so much about flying in this place? As long as they stepped on the wetland, the water birds are happy enough. The vicissitudes of the world are like floating clouds. In 10 years, the east of the river becomes the west. Who cares to predict anything would happen in this world? The water birds are happy to be themselves." And so, Doxia is thank you in Taiwanese, and thank you for coming. And I have time for questions now. And snacks. We have snacks too after the questions. Bill, you want the microphone, or you want to yell? Microphone for the yes.
I saw endemic describing on a lot of the birds. Is it like a higher than normal amount of endemic birds for a small island or a big continent like that?
I don't know. You know, I think there's probably, I should have found out. But there's like 40 endemic birds, I think, in Taiwan, and yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. The microphone.
So is birding popular?
Is
in
birding popular in Taiwan? So I'm not entirely sure. I did not see many birders when I was out. There were some people with binoculars. I know that. So the only way I could find out where to bird was on eBird. So I go to eBird. Thankfully, there are some hot spots that I could find, but it's not the hot spots were not frequently visited. So if people bird, maybe they don't eBird. But I was very excited when I found another bird. I go, "Oh, are you a birder?" And we started talking. And so I can speak some Taiwanese. My Taiwanese is okay. My Mandarin is not so great. And so if I came across someone that only spoke Mandarin, it was much harder to communicate because I just had to ask them if they spoke Taiwanese. Yeah, question there, and then over here.
Did you say that one of the birds migrated to Scotland?
No. Sorry. No, I took 2 separate trips in the summer, and one of the trips was to Scotland, and so something like the Eurasian nuthatch, which has a range all across Europe and Asia. So so I saw a Eurasian nuthatch in Scotland. I didn't see one in Taiwan, but I heard one in Taiwan. So then later I could say, oh, I got to see a Eurasian nuthatch. So that's why. So sorry for the confusion.
I was wondering if you had your druthers, if you would have gone in a different month so it wouldn't have been so uncomfortably hot.
Yeah. So I ended up just embracing. I just told my family, just embrace the heat and humidity because it's just part of it. And so once I got used to it, as I get older, I don't mind the heat so much. I'm also a high school teacher, so I can't leave during the school year. So it's hard to go someplace during the school year, except for the summer. But the winter is very pleasant there. So if you can go in the winter time. This is a bird on my shirt. This is a black-faced spoonbill that I did not get to see. But they loved the spoonbill there. They had little stuffed animals at the hotels for the black-faced spoonbills. It was really cute. And so I was like, oh, I want to see a spoonbill someday. So maybe I'll go back in the winter time and try to see a black-faced spoonbill.
So which month would you recommend if someone could go any month?
Go in the winter. Yeah. I mean, I would go in the
December?
December, anytime I would say if you don't like the heat, just don't go in the summer because it's hot there. Unless you're in the mountains. The mountains were actually very pleasant.
So like February, March, all that would be good.
Yeah.
Hi, Victor. I was wondering if you know about if some of the birds that you showed us are migratory or if they're all stay there during the whole year.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of them stayed there throughout the year, but I'd have to look into that more. I think most of them stayed in there the year, but there are some that fly through there. So I don't know. Yeah, well, the crested goshawk. So it's like it does. They document the migration of the crested goshawk, but I didn't get to read up about it or anything. But yeah, there's a lot of things I would want to find out more about, but I don't know. Sorry.
That's okay.
Any other questions?
Let's give Victor another round of applause.
Thank you. And then, so I brought some snacks. I didn't expect so many people here, which is great. So we have pineapple cakes, which is famous from Taiwan. So if you want to take a pineapple cake, maybe take one per family group. You can share. They're pretty big. There's also mochi, or they're like mochi, I guess. But there's different kinds. There's fruit ones, and there's boba mochi, and you can take, there's little packages there. So help yourself to some snacks. If you want anything afterwards in person, I'm also here. So thanks for coming. Appreciate it, Dosha.
And we have all kinds of swag in the back, T-shirts and hats with our new logo and name. So feel free to purchase those. I also wanted to take a moment. I forgot to make this announcement. We are looking for a new president. I'm going to be retiring in June, and we have a nominating committee, and we could always use your help on that committee. Several of the people from the nominating committee are here. Dana, who's selling shirts for us, is our stewardship person. She's on nominating. And Kate here is a member of our membership and not on our board, but she is helping with the nominating committee. And Keith Tickey, our treasurer. We also have Mike Sefton, our vice president and program chair, and Diana Miller, who's our membership chair, who are here if you have any questions about those things. Am I forgetting anybody? Jessica, our secretary, is on the nominating committee, but I think she had to leave early. But we're looking for folks who are interested in being our next president, and it's a great job. It's the best job I ever had, so I encourage you to reach out to anybody on our nominating committee if you're interested in that, and get some swag.